Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a really fascinating interpretation of a single line from the Bible. And according to the source material we're looking at, this one line could completely reframe how we see ourselves and all of humanity.
Okay, so let's just dive right in with the phrase that kicks this whole thing off. You'll find it at the very end of a long and, let's be real, and often skipped genealogy in the Gospel of Luke. It's just kind of tucked away in there, almost as an afterthought. Adam, the Son of God.
Now, that should make you pause for a second, right? Because when you think of Adam, what usually comes to mind? For most people, it's a story of failure, of disobedience. So, why did the author of the sermon we're analyzing find this little phrase so incredibly profound? Well, let's dig in. This entire perspective, this whole new way of looking at things, it all hinges on that one tiny clue. So let's see how this overlooked phrase becomes the key to a radical new understanding of who we are. You know, the author explains that they were challenged to stop just glossing over the simple stuff in the text. And once they did that, this one phrase suddenly jumped off the page. It wasn't just another name in a list, it was this huge, standalone declaration. Adam is the Son of God. And here's where it gets really interesting. That phrase comes at the very end of a list of 77 generations. 77! All of them connecting Jesus all the way back to Adam. And every single person in that massive family tree has one thing in common. They all have a name. All right, let's keep going, because this idea builds into a pretty wild theory that the book of Genesis isn't describing one creation of humanity, but two distinct lineages, created in totally different ways. So, the source material suggests that the Bible describes two separate creations. First, you have the children of God, starting with Adam. Then there's another group, just called the people. So what's supposed to be the difference between them? This table really lays out the whole argument. The line of Adam, you see, was supposedly formed differently, from dust, then given a direct breath of life. They got a very specific rule to follow, and, this is key, they were given names. The people from Genesis 1, in this view, were not. So it all boils down to this. The whole interpretation hinges on these two specific details: receiving that divine breath and having a personal name. Those are the supposed markers of this special, divinely connected family line. But why a name? I mean, why is that so important? It seems like such a small thing. Well, there's a personal story from the source material that takes this abstract idea and makes it incredibly real. The speaker tells this story about a trip to a hotel in Atami, Japan. And it was there that a totally unexpected encounter with a stranger named Mr. Kozuka ended up demonstrating the profound power of simply knowing someone's name. So here's what went down. The two guys meet in the hotel bath, and they just hit it off. They talk for about an hour, and they exchange names. Then, one evening, total chaos. A fire alarm starts blaring, and in the mad rush to evacuate, the speaker gets separated from his wife. And in that moment of absolute confusion, it was the simple act of knowing and using a name that cut through all the noise. See, Mr. Kozuka had run into the speaker's wife downstairs, and because they had exchanged names, he could call out and instantly reconnect the family. And that's the whole point of the story. That experience showed that a name is so much more than just a label. It's the foundation for recognition, for helping each other, for real human connection. It literally builds a bridge where there wasn't one before. Okay, so let's bring all of this together now. We've got the scriptural clue, we've got the theory of two humanities, and we have the incredible power of a name. So what's the final resolution? What does this mean for every single one of us? The argument is laid out as a really simple logical progression. 1, Scripture calls Adam the Son of God. 2, Adam's lineage is defined by that breath of life and by having a name. 3, every single person on earth has a name. So what's the conclusion? 4, it means every person shares in this identity as a child of God. So according to this interpretation, your name, the one you use every day, is more than just a word. It's the proof. It's the unbreakable evidence of your divine lineage and your inherent worth. It's not just what people call you, it's a declaration of who you are. And the ultimate takeaway here is this incredibly powerful call for unity. Because if everyone, no matter who they are or where they're from, is fundamentally a child of God, then all the divisions we create, race, gender, nationality, they just become meaningless. We're all family. And so, we're left with this final, really provocative thought.
What if this one shift in perspective, sparked by a single line in an ancient text, actually holds the potential to change not just how we see ourselves, but more importantly, how we see everyone else? What would that world look like?